There was a lawyer once. His name was Francis Scott Key. He penned a song that I'm sure you're aware of. You've seen it. It's in most hymnals throughout our churches. It's called the national anthem. It is our song as an American. We go, however, to a ball game. We stand in our church services and we sing the words of that song, and they float over our minds and our lips, and we don't even realize what we're singing. Most of us have memorized it as a child, but we've never really thought about what it means. Let me tell you a story. Francis Scott Key was a lawyer in Baltimore. The colonies were engaged in vicious conflict with the mother country, Britain. Because of this conflict and the protractedness of it, they had accumulated prisoners on both sides. The American colonies had prisoners and the British had prisoners. And the American government initiated a move. They went to the British and they said, let us negotiate for the release of these prisoners. They said, we want to send a man out to discuss this with you. They were holding the American prisoners in boats about 1,000 yards offshore. And they said, we want to send a man by the name of Francis Scott Key. He will come out and negotiate to see if we can make a mutual exchange. On the appointed day, in a rowboat, he went out to this boat and he negotiated with the British officials. And they reached a conclusion that men could be exchanged on a one-for-one basis. Francis Scott Key, jubilant with the fact that he'd been successful, went down below in the boats, and what he found was a cargo hold full of humanity, men. And he said, men, I've got news for you tonight. You're free. He said, tonight I have negotiated successfully your return to the colonies. He said, you'll be taken out of this boat, out of this filth, out of your chains. As he went back up on board to arrange for their passage to the shore, the admiral came and he said, we have a slight problem. He said, we will still honor our commitment to release these men, but it'll be merely academic after tonight. It won't matter. And Francis Scott Key said, what do you mean? He said, well, Mr. Key, he said, tonight we have laid an ultimatum upon the colonies. Your people will either capitulate and lay down the colors of that flag that you think so much of, or you see that fort right over there, Fort Henry? He said, we're going to remove it from the face of the earth. He said, how are you going to do that? He said, if you will, scan the horizon of the sea. And as he looked, he could see hundreds of little dots. And he said, that's the entire British war fleet. He said, all of the gunpowder, all of the armament is being called upon to demolish that fort. It will be here within striking distance in a matter of about 2.5 hours. He said, the war is over. These men would be free anyway. He said, you can't shell that fort. He said, that's a large fort. He said, it's full of women and children. He says, it's predominantly not a military fort. He said, don't worry about it. They said, we've left them a way out. And he said, what's that? He said, do you see that flag way up on the rampart? He said, we have told them that if they will lower that flag, the shelling will stop immediately. And we'll know that they've surrendered, and you'll now be under British rule. Francis Scott Key went down below and told the men what was about to happen. And they said, how many ships? He said, hundreds. The ships got closer. Francis Scott Key went back up on top and he said, men, I'll shout down to you what's going on as we watch. As twilight began to fall, and as the haze hung over the ocean as it does at sunset, suddenly the British war fleet unleashed. He says the sound was deafening. There were so many guns that there were no reliefs. He said it was absolutely impossible to talk or hear. He said suddenly the sky, although dark, was suddenly lit. And he says from down below, all he could hear the men, the prisoners, saying was, tell us where the flag is. What have they done with the flag? Is the flag still flying over the rampart? Tell us. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours into the shelling, Every time the bomb would explode and it would be close to the flag, they could see the flag in the illuminated red glare of that bomb. And Francis Scott Key would report down to the men below, it's still up. It's not down. The admiral came and he said, your people are insane. He said, what's the matter with them? He said, don't they understand this is an impossible situation? Francis Scott Key said he remembered what George Washington had said. He said the thing that sets the American Christian apart from all other people in the world is he will die on his feet before he'll live on his knees. The admiral said, we have now instructed all of the guns to focus on the rampart to take that flag down. He said, we don't understand something. Our reconnaissance tells us that that flag has been hit directly again and again and again, and yet it's still flying. We don't understand that. But he said, now we're about to bring every gun for the next 3 hours to bear on that point. Francis Scott Key said the barrage was unmerciful. All that he could hear was the men down below praying. The prayer, God, keep that flag flying where we last saw it. Sunrise came. He said there was a heavy mist hanging over the land, but the rampart was tall enough. There stood the flag, completely nondescript, in shreds. The flagpole itself was at a crazy angle, but the flag was still at the top. Francis Scott Key went aboard and immediately went into Fort Henry to see what had happened. And what he'd found had happened was that that flagpole and that flag had suffered repetitious direct hits. And when hit had fallen, but men, fathers, who knew what it meant for that flag to be on the ground, although knowing that all of the British guns were trained on it, walked over and held it up humanly until they died. Their bodies were removed and others took their place. Francis Scott Key said what held that flagpole in place at that unusual angle were patriots' bodies. He penned the song, "Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming. For the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that the flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet fly and wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? The debt was demanded. The price, it was paid.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets break clear, the bomb bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Well, good evening, everybody. I'm Jim.
I'm Mandy.
We are coming to you live from the stand. What's going on, Mandy?
Not a lot.
Not a lot.
No.
Heck of
Been
a
busy
day around
doing
the world.
laundry.
Oh, Lord. Laundry.
Yeah.
Thelma's going to teach me how to do laundry. I've done it once in, 33 years? Yeah. And I didn't do very well.
Yeah.
Some say I might have screwed it up on purpose. I don't know. I'll never tell. So, I don't know.
You didn't fold them right.
Right. I didn't wash them right.
There was still powders on the clothes.
Yeah. So you say. So, I guess we got some worldwide news to talk about. And when I set this live stream, of course, I don't think there had even been a U.S. strike yet. And now, we've had the U.S. strike, Iran's feeble attempt at a counter attack, and now I guess we've got some sort of peace agreement, or at least a ceasefire in the works, which ultimately is the best thing for everybody around the world.
Yeah.
So I know so many people are divided on, Trump and the leadership, and it seems like that's always the case. But I never was a big Obama fan, but when Obama, when he got Bin Laden, I celebrated just like everybody else. It was a magnificent day for the U.S. and for the world. And I feel like the downfall of this Iran regime is pretty much on par with that, because I don't think many people realize how dangerous they really are, because they don't care to die. So if they had a nuclear weapon, I don't think they would hesitate to use it. And then of course we would respond, and other countries would respond, and then we get into that World War III discussion, and that's not going to be good for anybody. So hopefully peace will prevail. And hey, Charlie, what's going on, buddy? Charlie Lone Wolf. That's Charlie K, if y'all don't know. Really? Well, Charlie K, I really don't feel like we are like relegated to one community per se, especially not the drama community. We're going to try to steer away from that. But But yeah, I mean I don't know what everybody's talking about, but that's what's on my mind. You know, you you turn on YouTube, you turn on the news, you turn on whatever, and that's what you see and that's what you hear, and rightfully so. I mean, you're talking about something that affects the lives of every living soul on the planet, in my opinion. Charlie, what branch of the service were you in? Was it Army? I believe he was in the Army. Um, as far as I know, the only branch of the service that's been used thus far was the U.S. Air Force. In this, you can't really call it a war. It's not a war, but I guess conflict. Um, I don't know. I'm going to throw up a poll here in a minute and see what everybody thinks as far as whether you thought the U.S. should have been involved or not. I'll go ahead and give you my personal opinion. Um, I think we could have stayed out of it and let Israel do what they've been doing. But I think that could have led to a lot of death, and probably not death of United States citizens, but it could have led to a lot of unnecessary death. Regardless, I mean, you've got these countries bombing each other with reckless abandon, and I think 2 days ago or 3 days ago, a daycare got hit. The day before that, a hospital got hit. So I don't think there was any casualties from these. I think there actually was a woman who had a heart attack. But
Oh wow.
but remarkably, the bombs didn't actually kill anybody, and so that's good. And I guess Israel's got one heck of a missile defense system, and I think the U.S., from what I hear, has a even better defense system as far as taking out incoming missiles. So I do feel safe. I feel safer tonight than I did yesterday. I feel much safer tonight than I did a year ago. Just to be honest with you. But I'm going to put up a poll here in just a second and see what you all think. Do you think we should have stayed out of it, or do you think we did the right thing by acting? And
Now the ceasefire hasn't started yet, right?
I don't believe so. I believe they've agreed to it, but it hasn't. There's a start date for it. I'm not sure. Do you know the date on that or the time?
It was a time, but I don't know what the time was. They said in 6 hours, but I'm not sure when it started.
Okay. And I wonder if anybody fired any last shots. It's kind of like an argument, or I'm thinking like an
Yeah.
argument. Hey, I want to get the last word in. Yeah, Charlie, I agree with you. Let me highlight that comment. I agree. Don't trust Iran, which is really the reason why we. Is that
There
me?
was a lawyer once. His name was Francis Scott Key.
Yeah, that's me. Hang on a
He
second.
penned a song.
It's playing on the. But yeah, I think the reason why we actually did send in our MOPs were because of the distrust. Because Iran's been saying all along, "Oh no, we're not trying to weaponize." But then I think something like they're supposed to have like 3 to 5% enriched uranium, and they had like 60%, which I think you need 90% to weaponize. Now I'm not perfect on these numbers. It's not really my thing, but from what I understand, that's what it is. And so I mean they were really close. Experts say within a week or two of being able to put a nuclear warhead on one of their missiles, and that could have been really bad because they don't care. They don't care what happens. They don't care about the repercussions. you know, they expect us to fight back, and they feel like it's an honor if they're killed in combat or in a war. So, when you've got people with that mindset, it's really hard to deal with. It's like, growing up, there's some people that would just fight at the drop of a hat and for no reason. Win, lose, or draw, they didn't care. And it's just kind of the same thing. They're dangerous because they'll walk up and sucker punch you, and it's when you say that trust, it goes back like Iran lied to their own people today. They told their own people that they were successful in striking the U.S. military base in Qatar, and they weren't. They weren't successful at all. Nothing landed. We took out 13 of the 14 missiles, and the 14th we didn't even attempt to take out because it wasn't going to hit anything anyway.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Now, one thing that has come out of this, I still haven't set the poll yet, but one thing that has come out of this is I believe the world has seen the power of the U.S. military and what capabilities or possibilities they may have. Could we have more? I think so. Are we showing it? I don't think so. So, and I told Thelma the other day, as soon as Trump said he's giving them 2 weeks, I said, there's no way he's going to wait 2 weeks.
No.
I knew that wasn't going to happen. Because, it's, and honestly, I can't believe Iran fell for it. You going to give me 2 weeks to get all my stuff out and move? Like, yeah, okay. If you're not out of there in 2 weeks, we're going to blow you up. Okay, well, let me just get everything out of there. Yeah, that's not really good. So now there has been previous leadership who I think may have, and I'm not going to mention them because, like I said, when they're the commander in chief, they're my president. Joe Biden was my president. As much as I disliked him and disliked his administration, he was my president. If Kamala Harris would have won, she would have been our president and my president. So it's united we stand, divided we fall. We learned that, in Kentucky at a very young age in our school books. So, and I really believe that rings true today. And the division inside our country, we can save that discussion for another time, but it's getting to a ridiculous point. Like, I know there's political interest on each side, and they want to get their agendas done or whatever. But in the end, don't we want what's best for America first? That's what I want. I mean,
yeah, for the kids.
Right. I mean, if I'm rooting for Obama to fail, or Biden to fail, or Trump to fail, I'm rooting for the U.S. to fail. And that's I just don't understand that logic. If you lose the election, wait your 4 years and make a new decision. But you know what we do, Mandy? Every day we live and we learn.
Oh, for sure. With everything.
Yeah. Everything in life, from sports to, jobs you work, just everyday life. If you make a mistake, then you know what not to do in the future to make that mistake. So, nobody lives a perfect life, but, and nobody ever will. But if you can correct your mistakes, then I feel like you're on the right path. And that's what I'm trying to do, in my own life. So, and I encourage everybody else to do the same, whether you like me or not. I'm not trying to force anybody like me, but, or like the stand or the show, but, regardless, I hope that each and everybody listening and watches in the future, that you take that to heart and try to do better every day. And if you're doing great every day already, then good for you. So, I mean, I know, just about every preacher I've ever had has always said, that they're a sinner and that they sin every day,
Right.
subconsciously or whatever, but they learn from it and they ask forgiveness. So that's all you can do. I think we
Yeah.
were earlier in messages, and something came up about doing better, every day, and that's all we can do, right? Do better than we did yesterday, and learn from our mistakes, and that's what I'm trying to do, and I hope everybody does the same. So, um, Charlie, I ain't trying to give your age away or nothing here, but were you ever, like when you were in the service, was there any combat going on at all anywhere in the world? Or that's right, Charlie. Everybody messes up. We all just got to get back on track. That's it. And some people don't want you to get back on track, and there's going to be that. There's going to be that faction of people who are just always negative. And
They're just unhappy.
yes, there is so many unhappy people in this world. I mean, there's people I deal with that live miserably. They're unhappy all the time, and you can tell it. You can see it in their face. You can see it in their actions.
They want everybody to be unhappy.
Yeah. Misery loves company. I've always heard that. So,
Yeah.
I wish everybody was like my dog here. She just lays around. She's just laying around, fur bag.
Which one is it?
It's my golden doodle. She's kind of adopted me. She's she's like 70 pounds, and she thinks she's like 5 pounds.
Yeah.
And if I get sick, I got sick like 3 or 4 weeks ago when I got real sick. I hadn't been that sick in like years, where I was with nausea and stuff, and she knew I was feeling bad, and she wanted to lay right on top of me. She didn't want to give me an inch. She wanted to be right there. She was worried about me, and I wish we all had the heart of some of these animals sometimes.
Yeah. Charlie said he joined in 81.
Wow, I had no idea you were 60 in your 60s, Charlie. Yeah, I'm sure it's scary. But that's cool. You joined in 81, so yeah. Did you train in Fort Benning? I'd say you probably didn't train in Fort Benning, did you? You're and you don't have to give anything away if you don't want to. I know there's so many people on the YouTube streets that like to try to find every bit of information they can have on anybody, but and I'd like to, right quick, I'd like to say, I wasn't going to mention anything, but I would like to say that if anybody has any information on somebody who don't like me, or somebody's got something bad to say about me, just keep it to yourself.
Right.
I don't even want to know. So they can, God bless them, and I hope they find it in their heart to forgive me for whatever I've done to them, and if not, that's okay too. Fort Lee, Virginia, is that still an active place? Supply Unit Infantry. I bet that was pretty rough. Fort Lee. I'm not sure how far that is from here. I know Virginia borders Kentucky. So, but yeah. So let's talk about this mission, man. I mean, Charlie, you being former military, what do you think about the way it was planned out and executed? Because that part, I don't. Just like with the Bin Laden sting, I think this operation was flawless. Like, it was absolutely perfect. And I can't imagine those guys, those pilots being that good. I reckon they were, dropping these. Were they 2-ton bombs? No, they're 15-ton bombs, 30,000 pounds each. 15-ton bombs, and they drop them
Crazy.
from the sky and hit a target the size of a washing machine.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. My grandfather was in the Air Force, and so my mom has pictures of like the bombings and stuff, and I was like, that's crazy.
It's unbelievable, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've got a cousin who was in the Air Force, and his son is active in the Air Force now. Of course, he wasn't involved in anything, over the weekend or anything, but he's in the Air Force. So, these, and I can't imagine because I know I get stressed. I get stressed before a ball game, even if the team's not playing. Like Kentucky playing Arkansas. I want us to beat Calipari so bad, and I get so stressed that I can't sleep. I can't imagine these guys getting ready to go into combat and with their life on the line. But they flew these B-2 bombers, 7 of them in, without being even fired at. They were completely undetected, and they sent, I think, 2 the opposite direction as a decoy. And everybody in the world, I was like, oh, they've flown 2 B-2 bombers towards Guam. They're getting in position, and then while everybody's looking towards Guam at those B-2 bombers, they got 7 of them headed towards Iran and dropping these 14 precise bombs, and it was magnificent. And then I'm not talking about like glorified, but magnificent in the fact that it was just so wonderfully executed. Kudos to Donald Trump, kudos to Barack Obama for Osama bin Laden, but those are our commanders in chief. They make the decision, but these generals and these leaders of our military are unsung heroes, because they plan that out. They're the ones who strategically decided, okay, we're going to send bombers to the east or to the west, and we're going to go to the east, whatever. So it was, it's wild that that nobody got word of it, especially with how nosy our media is.
Yeah.
That's another thing. I was listening a few days ago to some of the press conferences, and these media are actually asking Trump and that Caroline Levitt or whatever, asking questions like, when are you gonna attack, or like, why would he tell them that?
Yeah.
Do you want to be the reporter that gets that question answered? I don't. Because then you're putting so many lives at risk. But I thought it was very, very well executed. I think everybody in the world does. I did see that China and Russia and several countries condemned it, but from what I understand, they were secretly or privately saying good job, pat on the back, you did good. And so I know Israel's really happy. I saw a billboard. Did you see that where the Israelis put up a billboard said with Trump's face on it, says "Thank you, Mr. President"?
I didn't.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it and I'll pull it up. It's kind of crazy. Let's see. Who you talking to?
Charlie said, believe me, he never told all.
Right. Yeah, he's I guess it comes natural for a politician, which Trump's not really a politician, but he's a businessman. But I guess it comes natural for a politician to be a little bit deceitful.
Some businessmen too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Margaret was in the chat earlier. I don't know if she's still in the chat, but she reminded me of a time about 20 some years ago when I was running my MMA shows and she ran her MMA shows, and I actually pulled a dirty deed on her. The person she was renting her cage off of, her combat cage, I paid them to stay at home and no show her. So it was dirty. It was a dirty move. I regret it now. But it was business. It was all, I've always heard that, all fair and love and war.
Right.
So, but I do regret it now, and I wish I hadn't. There's a lot of things I wish I could do differently, for sure. Let's see. Billboard.
If you were coming here and have a conversation,
All right.
Brian,
Just a second.
probably gonna make the same.
Don't see it.
I was trying to
Oh, here it
tell
is. Here it is. Thank you, Mr. President. It'll pull up.
why.
Oh, this is a website saying thank you, Mr. President. All right. I guess I'm not going to find it. I should have pulled it up earlier. And I'm not even going to try to pronounce some of these names, some of these leaders.
Never mind, just come home.
But yeah, there's Iran fires 15 missiles.
You won't talk to me.
I ain't going to see it. Hang on, let me see what the hell was going on here.
I don't think so either, Charlie. Like, it just seems like that was too easy.
All right. Yeah, I don't think so either. Like I said, like you said earlier too, Charlie, it's don't trust Iran, but I think Trump's probably, not just Trump, but I think the U.S. is probably ready for any scenario, and I think or not, but Israel is ready. Now, I heard some things today that I didn't realize. I didn't realize that Israel is the size of New Jersey.
Oh, really? I didn't know that either.
Yeah, I thought it was bigger. And I did not realize that Iran has nearly 90 million people. And it's the size of Texas, basically, from what I heard.
That's a lot of people for that kind of space.
Yeah, well, yeah, they're stuck together. I mean, it doesn't look comfortable over there at all, and it really doesn't look comfortable in Israel. I mean, they're as far as population wise, I'm sure they're overpopulated, and that may be part of the reason why countries like Iran don't care to go into battle. So what if we lose 10,000
Right.
troops? But some of these countries don't care as much about their people as the United States does, and I know honestly the United States has a long history of not caring or not showing that they care anyway. So, and I still think we could do better for our military. I don't think military should have to pay taxes ever. I think if you serve in the military, especially combat, and you are not dishonorably discharged, then you should never have to pay taxes, I think. I mean,
Yeah. They definitely should have a lot more than they do.
yeah. And there should never be a homeless veteran. It shouldn't happen.
Oh, no. Yeah.
I mean, I know we have the funds to house people because there's the HUD program and so much welfare in our country that, and I'm not knocking it. I'm just saying I know there's funds for that we make available. So let's do something for our troops. Let's make that available for them too. It destroys me to see a homeless veteran, no matter whether I like them or not. And there's veterans that I know personally that I don't like, but they were still, they still fought for my freedom
Yeah.
or signed up to fight for it anyway. Yeah, Charlie. Iran does play dirty pool. Charlie agrees. Never should be a homeless veteran. That's to me that's crazy. I don't get that. I mean, we've got empty buildings like old hospitals, old hotels. We couldn't make 1-bedroom apartments for veterans and at least give them food and water basics, or water and electricity basic stuff. Of course, I don't know.
Right, Charlie. That's what I was
Exactly.
thinking.
Exactly. Listen, I can't remember what country it was, but there's some country that we gave so many $1 billion to research transgender.
I saw that.
And
I don't remember who it was, and it was some. I don't think I've even ever heard of the place.
Yeah, it wasn't like a country you hear of all the time, and that's just, to me, that's just wild. Like, I know we have information on all this, these surgeries, transgender, whatever, and that's a discussion for another day. But why don't we just give them the info instead of giving them billions of dollars?
Yeah.
Like, why don't we just share our knowledge? I think our funds have been misappropriated for forever. Since the beginning of our country, and and we need to, as a country, we need to do better, I think. So, all right,
especially when we're struggling anyway.
Oh yeah.
When our own people are struggling,
right? And we're in debt too. We're in debt and we're giving away money because it wasn't a loan; it was a gift. So here you go, take this money.
Yeah.
I mean, how many veterans could we have for $1 billion or $10 billion? I'd say a lot.
Yeah.
All right, let me start this poll. Do you think you think the U.S. was right or wrong to get involved? Yeah, right or wrong? Okay. Polls up. All right. And we're probably not going to have a lot of people in chat because I made chat members only, and I did that for a reason. Numbers aren't important. Just wanted to get back, in the saddle and start doing our live streams. And like I said, we're going to move in a different direction. We're going to steer away from the old rhetoric and move into something new. I'm not even going to say the D word anymore. I'll say it one more time. I'm not even going to say drama anymore. We're just going to move on from that old rhetoric and move into something new. And the next one we'll do will be more uplifting. Which I'm not saying this is somber, but war is never good. Even though there has been minimal casualties throughout this, I think somebody mentioned today that they're going to try to call this the 12-day war between Israel and Iran. But like I said, there's been minimal deaths. I think Israel killed a lot of the Iran leadership, a lot of their regime leadership. But other than that, there's very few casualties as far as soldiers and the civilians. So,
And it's amazing to me by seeing all the pictures that there wasn't as many, that there wasn't many, because the pictures are so bad.
oh my gosh, I know. And if you've watched any of the videos of the reporters over in Israel, you can hear those sirens going off. I mean, can
Yeah.
you imagine the fear of people? I mean, just
Mm-mm.
all those sirens. And when you hear those sirens, it's time to get into a bunker. It's time to hunker down and get sheltered up. And yeah, pretty much that's half the day over there, just about every day. Hopefully that's about to slow down, at least. Supposed to come to an end. Ceasefire means, no more. Hopefully those countries will stick to that agreement. I do have a feeling that we are going to face different kinds of action besides military. I think there's going to be terrorist attacks. Well, I mean, we've already got them. They've already been happening. So
Oh, they're everywhere.
yeah, and I was listening today, and there's been so many come in over the last several years from Iran that were actually detained, and then about half of those were set free inside the U.S. So there's a good possibility that we've got some radicals, running loose, seeking revenge. Hopefully, local law enforcement and the FBI can stay on top of that. That's what they get paid for, and they don't get paid enough either. But I do have another song I wanted to play because I've been a little bit patriotic today. I can't lie. I do love my country, and looks like the vote is almost right down the middle. We got 55% say we were right, and 45% say we were wrong. So it's a pretty close vote. And I think that's about the way it is everywhere, as far as the way people are thinking. So I'm going to give away some memberships again tonight because I said I would. So hopefully Mama Davis is with us, and if she's listening, hopefully she gets one. If not, also anybody who's listening, if you would message me at CoachJimboC@gmail, just message me, and if you are a friendly face, and then I'll take care of your membership. I think Mandy said she was willing to help people too, so
Yeah.
just reach out to one of us, and we'll make sure that we, have members.
What was your email again?
Mine is CoachJimboC@gmail.com.
I'll put it in the chat.
All right, here comes 5 memberships. Oh, you're welcome, Charlie. I'm glad you got one. Looks like we got Shay. Shay's a friendly. I'm glad you got a membership.
Oh my God.
Constance Sue. Well, welcome. Don't know who Kawana is. I know who Texas Kim is, and Simple One. So, welcome to the chat. And
And Texas Kim, did you see her?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we'll probably do members only chats for the most part. We are going to have a zero tolerance in the future because we just don't want to have it here, the negativity. Like I had some messages today I just deleted because I didn't read them because it didn't matter. So I mean, if it's something positive or constructive, that's okay, but I have no desire to argue with anybody. not online, not in real life, not at all. So um, that's all right, Charlie. I understand, brother. We've we've been there, buddy. I've definitely been there. I've been there recently. Um, things are looking up for my family now. We're doing a lot better, and and I think honestly, the little break I took from YouTube has a lot to do with that. So
Oh yeah.
I definitely have more peace and peace of mind than I did, 6 months ago, a year ago, 2 years ago, or 3 years ago. So,
And that's good too. There's no sense in even arguing. Like, nobody really gets anywhere.
no, you
Not
don't
with
win.
the
You don't win.
YouTube people, anyway,
No, I mean, I can say whatever I want to say, whether it's true or not, and it doesn't affect. Like, let's say I sit here and badmouth Charlie. Well, if you like Charlie, you don't care if I'm badmouth him or not. You're not gonna believe that. You're not gonna think
Right.
he's a good guy. And if you dislike Charlie, well, then you're gonna cheer me on. Yeah, kick his butt, kick his butt. There you go. So it's just like you said, it don't get anywhere. It's just counterproductive. And for the last 3 years, we've been barking out the same thing here at the stand over and over and over. And what did it do? Nothing really. I mean, are we? I know Ernie spent some time in jail, but honestly, I don't think the stand had anything to do with that. And really, it didn't change anything because I don't know for sure, but as far as I know, Ernie's right back on YouTube. So
He is. I have not watched him, so I don't know if
yeah,
he's changed anything or not. I'm guessing probably not.
yeah. I mean, if I were guessing, I would say he hadn't either. But yeah, like I said, just as hard as people tried to rid him of YouTube, it didn't rid him. So he's still here, and who am I to decide that somebody's not worthy to be on YouTube? YouTube's an open platform for anybody that wants to be on here that hasn't been banned. So it doesn't matter what my opinion is. If I have a negative opinion, I'm just going to scoot on by it, and because I don't make the decisions for YouTube anyway.
Yeah.
So all right, let me get back. I want to find this song because
Charlie, I think a lot of people are sick of it.
yeah, they are.
It's exhausting.
That's a good word. Because I'll tell you, so many headaches and lost friends. I've made some good friends and I've kept some good friends, but I've made good friends and lost good friends too. And it just ain't worth it. Just ain't
Yeah.
worth it. And regardless of whether we're all on the same page or not, if it's all negative all the time, eventually there's going to be conflict. Because
Yeah, and the negativity is so contagious too. I know
oh gosh,
I
sure
see
is.
that with myself. If I'm around somebody, it really brings me down.
Yeah. Yep. Just like cussing, I can go 2 weeks without cussing, get around somebody that's cussing every other breath, and here I start cussing again. I need to cut my tongue off sometimes, I think. All right, let's see. I'm gonna play this song. So give me a couple minutes, y'all. I'm gonna play this song and hope y'all enjoy.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of green, for purple mountain majesties above the fruity plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crowned thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sun. Oh, beautiful for a patriot dream that sees beyond the years. Thine alabaster cities gleam, undimmed by human tears. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crowned thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea, and crowned thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful.
Alan Jackson, America the Beautiful.
Was that recent?
I
know?
don't think so. I think probably 5 or 6 years ago. Let me look, see.
He still looks the same.
Yeah, he's aged really well. He sure has. He was actually in concert in Corbin, Kentucky. I'd say 3 or 4 years ago. It was kind of surprising to me that somebody with a name as big as he is that filled up so many big arenas could come here, but they're there. Technically, I don't live in Corbin right now, but we are in the process of moving. Of course, I'm not going to say where to, but we're moving on a farm. I'm looking so
I was
forward
fixing
to
to say
that.
the farm, right?
Yes, I'm so looking forward to that. Gonna get me a little mini cow, some goats, and some chickens. We're gonna get chickens first because we like them fresh eggs. So looking forward to that, and just a lifestyle change. And then
It'll be
I'll come up
peaceful.
for it. Yeah, I'm not really. I don't want to camp up here. And people take little frame by frame and try to figure out where you're at. And it's kind of crazy, but once I get where
It
I'm going,
absolutely is. It's
yeah.
like, do you not have nothing better to do? Like,
yeah.
I don't know.
That's just that's like I said, I'm sure those people have deep rooted issues somewhere. The people who do that, and I'm not singling anybody out, but because there's a bunch, and I used to be one of them too. I didn't really look frame by frame and try to look for stuff, but I dang sure took the info and ran with it when somebody gave it to me. So I had a hand in it too, and like I said, it's gonna do better. So I'm about ready to wrap it up tonight. Amanda, you got anything else to say? Hey, Shay, you're welcome.
I don't think so. I'm excited for the current events
Yeah, we
that we're going to work on.
Oh, absolutely. I want to as soon as I no longer reside in Laurel County, we are going to go over the which that'll be next weekend. We are going to go over the shooting in Laurel County where the cops busted down the door at the wrong house. The man got up to defend his family and was gunned down. And that's been months ago. And as far as I know, there's still not even been an arrest. So I don't know if they're going to
I
take any. Of the parts.
I started watching the Mickey Stein stuff too.
Oh yeah, now that's
It's
going to
so
be.
interesting.
Yeah, did you start at the beginning?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, I don't want to give anything away yet, but like, at first they were thinking like the judge was seeing Mickey's daughter, his underage daughter.
That's what I thought too when they were talking about, oh, well, he called him and everybody was saying all this stuff, rumors and everything, but
Yeah.
that's nothing. Like that's not even
No, it's not even close.
no.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we are. It's it's the South, Charlie. We're proud of our country, brother. I know you're a Yankee, but we do love our country in the South, and I know they love them up north too. But you will see a lot of flags, and probably see a lot of Southern flags too. So
I'm in Tennessee too, Charlie. I love it.
Yeah.
We just moved here a couple years ago. I love it.
Yeah, Tennessee's a good state. I don't think Tennessee has income tax, do they?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's awesome. I think there's a few states like that. I think Florida doesn't have income tax. I'm not sure.
Now,
100%.
some of their other taxes are a little bit higher, but I don't think it's enough to really notice a huge difference.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like the luxury tax and like when you buy something is like 10 or 11%. So it's 6% in Kentucky. All right. You officially a hillbilly, Charlie? Well, welcome to the club, brother. I was born and raised a hillbilly. I guess I always will be. Can take me out of the hills, but you can't take the hills out of me, I guess.
I talking about that, me and my husband watched we rewatched. I've seen it years ago, but we rewatched I don't know if you've seen it, The Wonderful Whites of West Virginia.
I started watching that not too long ago. Yeah, that's pretty wild. That's man.
They're interesting.
Yes, they are. Big time.
Jesco lives in Tennessee now, unless he's moved. The brother, the one that dances.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Shay said she's seen it.
Yeah,
They're entertaining for sure.
oh yeah, yeah. Those are. I'm telling you, if you haven't watched it, watch it. At least give it a shot because it gets pretty interesting right off the bat, and it never really loses you. You know,
Yeah.
if you're a binge watcher, be careful because you might binge watch that one. Well, all right, we will. It'll probably be either late this week or early next week before I'm able to do live again. He's a dancer really good too. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He can almost dance as good as me. So, and we'll probably start talking about Mickey Stein's, well, not Mickey Stein's per se, but the case, the Mickey Stein's and Kevin Mullins case. So, if you want to look it up, I suggest go to Hillbilly Crime and watch. I think her name's Elizabeth Jones. She's really interesting. She's got that sweet Southern Kentucky accent, and really sounds a lot like Leslie B used to,
That's what I thought too when I watched her.
Yeah.
The whole time I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, she's actually from Harlan too. Like that Elizabeth Jones. She lives in Letcher County now, but she's from Harlan. So yeah, so they're and Letcher's border Harlan, so it's very close in proximity. So yeah, we all got that hillbilly accent, but those girls, it really comes out in their voice, I think.
Yeah.
But it's charming.
Yeah, I'm liking her.
Yeah. Oh, she's awesome. And
yeah,
I guess he's been in trouble before. Like I've been watching her for about a year now, and she's feisty. Um, so she's been in trouble, and so she's no stranger to law enforcement over there. Of course,
Yeah.
in these small towns, you're no stranger to law enforcement anyway. So I mean, everybody knows everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's fun to listen to, and her mother is hilarious.
I
Sweet
haven't seen her yet.
Oh, she's like in her 80s, and they call her Sweet Tater. She is so cool. And she don't ever cuss. She tries not to badmouth people. So I'm talking about the mother, and it's
Yeah.
just she's you can tell she's been a wonderful woman her whole life. So, but yeah, if you want to catch up on any of that. And I suggest you start way back. I think the actual Pew Pew took place in I think November of last year. So I would start around that time, and because like I said, there's so many twists and turns, and we'll start.
I think I'm only on like she's got them like an album for them.
Oh,
so
cool.
I just went to the very beginning, and I think I'm only on like the third one about it.
Oh yeah, you got a lot of stuff to see.
Yeah.
Oh, man, you're gonna be blown away.
But even the third episode in, I'm like, this is wild.
Yeah. Oh, it is. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, buddy. Hope you come back. Well, all right. I guess we'll hop on out of here, and I'm gonna play a little Bruce Springsteen as we head out. And until next time, I'm Jimbo.
I'm Mandy.
We are coming to you live from the stand.
Well, I rode that ribbon highway. I saw above me the endless skyway. I saw below me the golden valley. Well, this land was made for you and me. I roamed and rambled. I followed my footsteps through the sparkling sands of her diamond deserts, and all around me a voice was calling. It said this land was made for you and me. Well, this land is your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream water. Well, this land was made for you and me. Now the sun came shining and I was strolling, oh, the wheat fields waving and the dust clouds rolling, and our voice was sounding as the fog was lifting. It said this land was made for you and me. Oh, this land is your land, this land is my land. From California to the New York Island, from the Redwood Forest to the Gulf Stream waters. Oh, this land was made for you and me.